Breaking news is unfolding across Belarus as reports emerge of massive army defections and protests spreading like wildfire throughout the nation. What began as isolated demonstrations in the capital has now turned into a full-scale uprising threatening to topple the long-standing regime of Alexander Lukashenko. Streets, once filled with quiet, are now alive with chants of freedom for Belarus as civilians, students, and even soldiers march together under the red and white flags of resistance. The air is thick with tension and uncertainty. Rumors swirl that several elite units of the Belarusian military have joined the protesters, refusing to follow orders to fire on their own people. The once unshakable image of Lukashenko's power appears to be crumbling before the eyes of the world. Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel Future X USA. Make sure you subscribe and press the bell icon so you never miss updates about the biggest global events changing our world today. We're diving deep into the shocking situation inside Belarus, where loyalty, power, and the will of the people are colliding in one of the most dramatic uprisings Europe has seen in decades. Across the cities of Minsk, Gomel, and Brest, tens of thousands of people are flooding the streets. The government buildings are surrounded, police lines are breaking, and the usual symbols of state control, riot shields, armored trucks, and propaganda banners, are now met with defiance. Videos shared online show soldiers laying down their weapons, waving at the crowds and declaring that they will not fight against their own citizens. It's a historic moment, one that has stunned the world and exposed the deep cracks within Belarus's power structure. Lukashenko, who has ruled for over 30 years with an iron fist, is suddenly facing the one thing dictators fear most: his own army turning against him. Inside the government, chaos reigns. Ministers are reportedly resigning. Communication between military headquarters and the presidency is breaking down, and state media employees have walked out in protest. In some cities, local police have refused to enforce curfews or arrest demonstrators. Ordinary citizens are describing a strange mix of fear and hope, a fear of what comes next, but a powerful hope that perhaps, after decades of repression, real freedom might finally be within reach. The corridors of power that once echoed with Lukashenko's commands are now filled with silence and doubt. The momentum of this uprising is unlike anything Belarus has experienced before. The performance of the resistance is fast, organized, and fueled by technology. Protesters are using encrypted messaging apps and drones to coordinate movements, outmaneuvering government surveillance. Social media has become their weapon, broadcasting every act of defiance, every crowd chant, and every moment of courage to the entire world. Within days, the revolution that began in Minsk spread to the country's industrial heartlands, where workers walked off factory floors and joined demonstrations demanding change. Meanwhile, Lukashenko's attempts to restore control through force have only fueled the fire. Every act of brutality, the tear gas, the beatings, the arrests, only brings more people to the streets. The balance of power is shifting hour by hour. Soldiers once loyal to the regime are now standing shoulder to shoulder with civilians, forming protective shields to block police charges. The once frightening sight of riot police has lost its power, as the people outnumber them 10 to 1. Safety has become one of the most pressing concerns in this unfolding crisis. With so many different factions, protesters, defected soldiers, loyalist forces, colliding in the streets, the situation is unpredictable and dangerous. Neighborhoods have formed self-defense groups to protect residents from raids and looting. Volunteer medics operate makeshift clinics in underground basements, treating the injured as hospitals become overwhelmed. Curfews are being ignored, and gunfire can be heard in the distance. International organizations are calling for calm, urging all sides to avoid violence, but their pleas are drowned out by the sounds of revolution. This uprising stands apart from anything Belarus has ever witnessed, and that's because of its unity. In the past, Lukashenko survived by dividing his opponents, workers against students, rural areas against cities. But this time, the country is united. Farmers, factory workers, soldiers, teachers, and even some former government officials have joined the call for change. For the first time, the opposition isn't relying on foreign support or political elites. It's a people's revolution powered by raw determination and hope. Technology has also become a defining force. Through live streams, drone footage, and viral videos, Belarusians are telling their story in real time, bypassing censorship and showing the world what freedom looks like when it rises from the ground up. But freedom has a price. The cost of this revolution is steep. The economy is collapsing under the weight of sanctions, strikes, and halted production. Banks are struggling. The currency is weakening, and shelves in stores are starting to empty. Families are divided. Some still support Lukashenko out of fear of chaos, while others are willing to risk everything for a new beginning. Power outages, internet shutdowns, and fuel shortages are becoming common. For many Belarusians, this is the hardest test of their lives, yet they continue to march, believing that every hardship today is an investment in a better tomorrow. The geopolitical stakes are enormous. Russia, Lukashenko's strongest ally, is watching nervously. Moscow fears that if Belarus falls into the hands of a democratic movement, similar uprisings could follow in other regions under its influence. But even the Kremlin seems cautious, hesitant to send support that might backfire. The European Union is calling for free elections and threatening further sanctions if the violence continues. Meanwhile, Western nations are monitoring closely but avoiding direct involvement, fearing that any interference might escalate the conflict. The world is witnessing a delicate balance between rebellion and diplomacy, between hope and destruction. Lukashenko himself is appearing increasingly isolated. Once seen standing proudly in military uniform, he now rarely appears in public. There are unconfirmed reports that his inner circle is collapsing, and even his longtime security chief has resigned. Videos show him being escorted under heavy guard to undisclosed locations as protesters close in on government buildings. His speeches, once filled with confidence and control, now sound desperate and disconnected. The people are no longer listening. The fear that kept him in power for decades has vanished, replaced by courage and determination. As the situation intensifies, one thing is certain: Belarus will never be the same again. Whether this uprising ends in victory for the people or in another cycle of repression, the spirit of resistance has already changed the nation's soul. Generations of silence have been broken. The young and old now stand side by side demanding dignity, democracy, and justice. This unity, born out of decades of oppression, is Lukashenko's greatest weakness. International reactions continue to pour in. Analysts describe this as the most significant moment in Belarusian history since its independence. The fall of Lukashenko would send shockwaves across Eastern Europe, challenging the balance of power that has existed for decades. Yet no one knows what tomorrow holds. Will the military fully side with the people? Will Lukashenko flee the country? Or will foreign powers intervene to stabilize the chaos? The answers are uncertain. But the determination of the Belarusian people is not. They have already proven that even under the shadow of dictatorship, the human spirit refuses to be silenced. As the night falls over Minsk, chants echo through the darkened streets. Candles flicker in the windows of homes, symbolizing hope and remembrance for those who have fallen. The air is cold, but the fire in the hearts of Belarusians burns bright. They know the path ahead is dangerous and costly, but they march forward anyway, refusing to surrender. So, is Lukashenko truly losing control? The evidence suggests yes. The army's loyalty is fractured, the people are united, and the system that once seemed unbreakable is collapsing under its own weight. What we are witnessing is not just a political crisis. It's the rebirth of a nation. Thank you for watching. If you found this video informative, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Future X USA. Stay aware, stay strong, and keep your eyes on the future. Because history is being written right now, and Belarus stands at the center of it.